In today's episode of the Platform Presents podcast, I got a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Madeline Enos, and she's hailing over from the team over at Included. And they're basically on a mission to revolutionize the enterprise DI space. So today we want to really deep dive into how Included basically can power your people first culture through AI. And we want to, figure out what that really means and how companies are leveraging the platform. So Madeline, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lucas. Happy to be here.
Sure. So maybe give us a quick overview. What is Included all about in your own words?
Yeah, so Included is an end-to-end people analytics tool powered by AI that helps companies hire and retain diverse talent. And the way we do that is it's powered by DEI data science. So we're able to integrate with people's existing HR and ATS systems, pull in that data, find some great insights, visualize it beautifully, and provide actionable recommendations for how people can take small actions, day by day to build a more inclusive culture and, again, attract and retain that talent.
Very, very good. So now, who would be benefiting most from it? Could you explain us, what types of companies? Is there a certain size they need to have a certain scale? Like, who's a great fit?
Yeah, great question. Although we have interest from companies of all sizes, I would say our product is best fit for companies sort of 200 full-time employees and up. And we can scale, up to 10,000 or more quite easily, just with the nature of the platform. But the reason why that's kind of a benchmark for us for looking at customer fit is companies of that size tend to be doing enough hiring that they're able to really see results using our product, especially the recruitment analytics module, and really, start to see those results as soon as they start implementing Included.
How would you describe the results? Like, what would be sort of the tangible results, HR teams would be walking away with leveraging the platform?
Yeah. So we work with folks on the talent analytics leadership side and recruiting side, as well as chief people officers and kind of C-suite leaders. In terms of the results that we're seeing on the talent analytics side, we just wrapped up a couple of case studies with customers, which have been really exciting. They are seeing better real-time visibility into the hiring funnel. That can help them adjust their recruitment strategy, see what sources are providing the best talent that they end up hiring and making an offer to. And it's also really great for, again, those real-time recommendations and guidance for steps that they can take to increase the statistical likelihood that they'll hire someone in an underrepresented group and help work towards DEI goals for their organization. Now, for C-suite executives, I think our dashboards and predictive analytics modules are the most helpful. It really helps align stakeholders, see progress for how the organization is doing at a whole, as well as specific departments or specific hiring managers. And that predictive analytics piece helps them forecast for the future in terms of workforce planning.
Very good. So now, how do these folks actually learn about Included? Like, what's their journey looking like? Sort of what are the channels that you guys are tapping into?
Yeah, well, I should say as an early stage startup, we have gotten a lot of our customers through recommendations from our other customers, from our advisors, and really building real relationships with folks in the DEI and talent leadership community. So really appreciative, first and foremost, for word of mouth referrals that we get, really helpful for early adoption. However, a lot of people are finding us through our content. Early on, we invested in blog content and some thought leadership, even a little market research, kind of reports, State of Diversity Recruiting 2022 report, for example. So people are finding us through organic search, which is awesome, as well as through social, since we have a pretty active group on our LinkedIn profile, as well as individual founders really promoting our content. So investing in content, making sure it's visible and findable in Google, as well as organic social have been our main channels.
Very good. Now, what role do you think the website then plays in their journey?
Yeah, well, interesting question, because we're currently going through a rebrand. Our website looks very different now than it did 3 weeks ago, and it will continue to evolve as we're getting new creative and product marketing collateral. But people tend to find us through, as I mentioned, through our content, right? So they first will land on our blog. And previous to our redesign, there wasn't necessarily a lot of places for them to go after that. Maybe some related blog content, but not really a clear path back to other pages on our site to learn more about our product. So that's been, I think, the biggest shift in terms of the website experience, and one that we've seen some really positive kind of behavior in terms of people exploring, learning more about the product, looking at case studies, how real companies are using our product, not just kind of theoretical best practices or educational pieces around diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Gotcha. Very cool. Now you joined Included a couple of months ago, right? I mean, actually, it's close to a year, not quite yet, but close to a year. Now, what have you done when we talked about the website? Like, what have you picked up maybe at Included or even prior? You had very interesting experiences, with Gartner, for example. What have you learned when it comes to sort of driving conversions on the website? Like, is there any sort of methods, tools, approaches, a way of thinking that you apply in order to drive those conversions?
Yeah, so I came to Included from Gartner, which is a large international market research consulting and events company. And I was working on the SEO side of things and the PR and thought leadership side of things for Gartner Digital Markets, which was a portfolio of recent acquisitions that Gartner had. So although they were companies kind of beyond the Gartner name, we were still able to leverage that Gartner brand. So we had a lot more recognition, right, than this early startup that's just getting started. And we were really relying on these big market research reports where we would do surveys, identify technology trends in the software space, and had a pretty established distribution network in terms of relationships with journalists, stuff like that. So when I came on to Included, I assumed that I would be doing a lot of the same stuff and leveraging those relationships, coming up with our own research and thought leadership in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space, specifically around data and technology and how to leverage that to move the needle. I quickly realized that at a startup, you have to wear many hats. As the only marketer, I was learning about how to optimize our email marketing efforts, live events and field marketing, all these different channels, paid channels. It's stuff I hadn't necessarily done before. And it was kind of a crash course in that style of startup marketing. We have shifted, I think, as I have learned more about our customers and about what content is most helpful for them, right? Because we want to create helpful content. We want to support companies, whether they're using our product or not, to make their organizations more diverse, equitable, and inclusive. And we have learned, based on what has been most successful from an SEO perspective, from a kind of click and conversion perspective, that how-to guides, specific examples, and case studies of companies that are doing it well are the most popular by far. So it's not necessarily, some hard-hitting reports with great stats about high-level trends. It's about how to do the work, whether you're a smaller organization or enterprise, and making sure we're really understanding our customers and serving them through our content to provide those helpful resources.
Very cool. Very, very interesting. It seems like, from companies like Gartner, you would expect rather that bird's eye perspective, while maybe from the startups, it's really that, ground level work, that grassroots work that you want to get experience from as a user. It makes a lot of sense. Now, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about your journey in marketing. So there's a lot of content out there for marketers themselves, right? And you've been in marketing for, what, about 10 years by now? I would say around something along that lines. Now, what would be sort of a place where you find high quality information for your own education with all the noise out there?
Yeah, there is a lot of content out there for marketers. It's interesting. Now that I'm in startup marketing, I have really grown to appreciate the kind of documentation and how-to guides that come from the technology providers that we're working with. So HubSpot, for example, great resource, especially if you're kind of a marketing leader / contributor, and doing the work as well as planning the marketing strategy. And then there are just so many great SEO thought leaders. I look to Alida Solis, and then the old school kind of Rand Fishkin, Will and Tom Critchlow, great resources on the SEO side of things. So I follow them closely, and I try to learn something new every day and carve out a little time, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes to help learn that way. And when I was coming up as a marketer, I think although there was some conferences and educational programs I did that were quite helpful, my best learnings always came through mentorship. So I am incredibly grateful for the folks who have mentored me through the years. Whether it was PR or more the SEO side of things. And now I have some awesome people in my network who have helped me become a stronger startup marketer, and kind of adjust my expectations about what those workflows look like, and even provide like tactical advice that has been tremendously helpful. So
Very cool.
I try to pay it forward. I do a little mentoring myself on adplist.org now for up and coming marketers.
Nice. It seems that this episode will be very helpful for people who are doing that step from like larger organizations into the startup world. So appreciate you sharing those insights. I got some rapid fire questions to wrap it up for today.
Yeah,
Are you
let's
ready
do
for
it.
those? Okay.
Yeah.
What's the last book that you read?
Oh, The Go Giver. It's about HR leadership and servant leadership and how to build a positive company culture.
What's one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
Right now, it's finding those early adopter customers who not just want to use our product, but want to give us feedback so we can make it as helpful and delightful as possible as we scale.
If there would be no boundaries in tech, what's the one thing that you would fix for your role as a marketer? So you got a magic wand.
Oh man, I think the attribution problem and challenge that we see. We've come a long way in terms of being able to better understand where our leads are coming from, how our customers are hearing about us. But there's so much important stuff that happens on the brand side of things and the organic social. I've heard it called like dark social that we just don't have sightlines into necessarily. And that work is very important as a marketer. So I would love it if we could kind of have a clearer picture there.
It's interesting because a lot of marketers, it's probably by far the most mentioned issue that folks have. Like, is there like just for people to sort of really grasp that, is there certain questions that you would want to answer in regards to attribution? Is it what is the part about attribution that interests you personally, for example?
Yeah, I mean, even at big companies like Gartner, we had challenges with multi-touch attribution tracking, especially across so many databases and systems that we use. So yeah, I think it would be better understanding people's entire journey as a customer. From the very first moment they heard about us. And some of those things are impossible to capture, right? If it's word of mouth or something like that. But that would be extremely interesting to me as I want to better understand our customers and how they hear about us.
Very cool. Last question would be, if we would do a little bit of time travel and we go back to Portland State, right? You're heading out of formal education into the world of, business. You've been a team leader prior, you're a trip leader. You've been in many different fields. What's the one advice you would give yourself for your journey?
Wow. Well, I was very busy having fun and living life in college. I was also learning some things, but I would encourage myself to keep that approach alive. To embrace life with curiosity and a desire to learn and a growth mindset, rather than feeling stressed out or the weight of the world on my shoulders as I was growing my career as a young marketer. I think life and career is an adventure and a journey with ups and downs. And now that I can look back, everything has been a lesson up until this point and gotten me where I was. So no need to stress.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathwing Presents.
Yeah, thank you, Lucas.